Hi everyone, my name is Keith Brooks and this is Brooks Channel, and for today's video, I'd like to talk about something I've discussed in a previous video, which is the comic book series I'm working on. Now, for those who haven't seen the videos where I talked about it, I'm currently writing my own comic book called Outcasts. It's an adventure fantasy kind of story set in a fictional version of Earth that I've been working on for a few years now, writing like first drafts and notebooks and all that. And I've been trying to find an artist to work with to, try and make it become a real thing. Been reaching out to some people to try and find someone, but unfortunately I haven't been able to have any luck. Yeah, no one's gotten back to me. Sorry, my thoughts got kind of messed up. But anyway, I'm still working on the comic itself, though, scripts and all that, and all the world building and all those things while I'm waiting and looking. Rambling on right now, but the point I'm trying to make is I'm still, trying to work on it, and I wanted to talk about it some more. So, I thought that I would basically tell you all the story of the first issue of what will be the start of the series. So if that interests you, then feel free to keep watching the video. So I'm not sure how to go about this. But anyway, the first issue is basically going to be like a prologue, the start of one, that introduces 4 of the main heroes of the story, back when they were little kids, between the ages of 7 and 9 years old, and gives you a little taste of what they're like, what they can do when they grow up, and basically kind of what they're like. Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to get my thoughts together. It's just kind of a spur of the moment kind of thing. But anyway, let's get started. The first issue opens up in the main character's hometown, called Highmore, which is a combination of Highlandtown and Baltimore, the part of Baltimore City I grew up in, And yeah, it starts off with a bunch of random kids playing soccer, or football, depending on what part of the world you're in. Basically having fun, laughing, playing around and all that stuff. And then, from across the field, they hear someone saying, "Hello." That's how one of the main characters says hello. This one is named Joey. I mentioned him and the other main characters in my previous video where I talked about the series. But Joey is a bit socially awkward, kind of weird, especially how he talks. And everyone's just kind of put off when he comes around, like all the kids playing soccer. Because Joey wants to try to play with them, but they don't want to. Even making up an excuse saying they're gonna go do something else. Joey's like, "Okay, I'll just come play with you there." But then they just outright say they don't want him around and just straight up leave. One of them even openly calling him a freak, which Joey gets sad about, and then just starts to walk home. Then when he gets there, he sees his mom in the kitchen washing dishes, getting ready to make dinner too, getting ready for it. So Joey, in one of his other habits, sneaks up behind her and goes, "Hi, Mom!" And it startles her to the point she drops a dish and breaks it. Yeah, it's a little habit he has. Then she just turns around and asks why he's home, saying that he was supposed to be out playing. Joey, with sounding upset and all that, as that none of the other kids wanted to play, so he just came back home until dinner started. And then his mom just tells him to go up to his room to play until it's all ready. And then Joey just goes, "Okay," and then just goes up the stairs and starts walking up on all fours like an animal. Another of his habits. His mom just turns back to the dishes and then just sighs, wondering what to do with him, because neither of Joey's parents really know how to deal with someone like him. Like, he may or may not be on the spectrum. I'm not sure. I guess it could be open to interpretation. But yeah, Joey just goes upstairs starts playing with some toy soldiers, and then sees a bunch of other kids outside his window playing, wishing he could play with them too, but they don't want him around. Yeah, kind of a sad way to start. But then, the next morning, Joey's out walking around town, wondering what to do, and he ends up hearing someone yelling at someone, and it's some big guy, like, grabbing some kid by the back of his shirt, or, like, leading him out of his backyard, yelling at him never to come back in there again. And the kid is basically just saying he was trying to get his ball out of the yard, but then the guy ends up saying that he saw the kid up in the tree in his yard, looking through the bathroom window, seeing the guy's daughter in the shower. For context, the kid is 9 years old, and the daughter is 15. Alright. Anyway, the guy just throws the kid out onto the sidewalk and threatens to call his parents if he ever tries it again. And then storms back through the yard to go back inside from the back door. Yeah, I'm not good at explaining things. So then the kid just gives out a little sigh and then starts standing around wondering what he's gonna do. And Joey, on a whim, goes behind him and says, "What you doing?" That's how he says, "What are you doing?" And the kid gets startled, turns around to see him, and asks who he is, and like that. Then Joey introduces himself and asks his name, and the kid introduces himself as Mitch, who is one of the other main heroes of the story. I mentioned him too. He becomes like the group's unofficial leader. And yeah, Mitch gets a little off-put by Joey at first, but with nothing better to do, offers to show him something, and Joey excitedly says yes. So then they both go off to a few houses down the street to Mitch's house, over to his backyard. It cuts to Joey waiting outside on the back porch. Then Mitch comes out carrying a BB gun, claiming he bought it with his allowance, secretly. And then, sorry, had a little something in my throat. So anyway, Mitch decides to show Joey how he uses it, and then walks up to the other side of, like, the end of the yard, where the fence is, and puts a bunch of cans up on the top of them, balancing them on the top posts and all that. Yeah, I'm not good at describing that stuff either. So anyway, it's maybe a few dozen yards of a distance between the porch and the end of the fence. So then Mitch takes the BB gun and effortlessly shoots all the cans, hands off, which Joey is impressed by. And Mitch bragging, saying that he'll be able to shoot anything, even if it's moving like crazy fast. Then offers to let Joey try it, who is nervous too because he had never tried to shoot a gun before. Tries to back out, but Mitch encourages him, setting up some more cans, then giving him the BB gun. So Joey reluctantly takes it and ends up missing every shot, which upsets him because this is the first time he had actually had someone to play with, and he's just worried he was screwing it up. Yeah, Mitch basically tells him to try again, and even helps him with his stance and how to aim. But even with that, Joey still misses. Then he gets mad at himself, starts punching the air, and then that's where he shows his own unique abilities. Joey basically punches right around where the cans are, and then his hand turns into a big boxing glove that flies off his arm like a rocket right towards the cans. And then as soon as it hits the fence, the glove explodes, making a big hole around the top, and all the cans blown away. And Joey, realizing what he's done, it's this like shocked look on his face, like realizing what he had done, and then goes, "Oh crap," which is how he says "oh crap." Then his hand just poofs back onto his arm in a puff of smoke like it was never gone. He then nervously turns around to see Mitch, who has got this blank stare on his face. And just when Joey thinks he's about to get called a freak again or something, Mitch just goes, "That was so freaking cool," which takes Joey back a bit, because he was expecting the opposite. Mitch wondering what that was, how he did it, if it was some kind of magic, because magic's a thing in this world, but not that kind. It's more about elements and stuff. And Joey says no, both his parents are normal humans, so people without powers, and states that he doesn't know what it is, and he had only learned about it recently. He was out in his yard playing superhero and stuff, then punched the air, and then his boxing glove hand flew up into the air and exploded. It's the first time it happened. Then Joey starts freaking out, running around, thinking he lost his hand, until it just poofs back on again a second later. Yeah, that's the story of how he got it, telling it to Mitch. I might have not been clear on that, sorry about that. Yeah, but Mitch is basically impressed, saying it's the coolest thing he had ever saw. And while they're talking about that, one of Mitch's neighbors opens up his window, hearing the explosion, asking what Mitch had done, thinking he did it, not seeing what really caused it, and then says he's gonna call Mitch's parents. And then Mitch starts freaking out, saying he's gotta hide the BB gun, and warns Joey he should leave so his parents don't find out, and that he'll take the heat, and even offering to play with him again tomorrow, if he's not grounded too hard. Which Joey is taken aback a bit again, asking if he's serious, and Mitch says yes. And then just immediately starts to run into the house to hide the gun, says he'll see him later. So then Joey takes his warning and starts running out of the yard and a few houses down the road. And in his own thoughts, he says he finally has a friend, which makes him really happy. He says, "Alright." That's a weird way of saying alright. Yeah, I'm still working out some of the phrases he says. But yeah, that would be the first issue of Outcast, something just simple to start things off. The first arc that's part of is 3 parts, which introduces all the 4 of the main characters. The first one, obviously, introducing Joey and Mitch. And then the third would the second would introduce the third of the protagonists. And the final one would introduce the fourth, and how they all meet. Yeah, I'm not very good at describing this kind of stuff, and everything's still in first draft. So, yeah, some of it's open to change. But that's the basic concept of the story itself. And I just felt like talking about it. Yeah, and I'm really hoping to polish up the story a bit and find an artist to work with to make it real one day. Hopefully it won't take too long. But yeah, not much else to say, so I'm just gonna end the video here. And as always, please let me know what your thoughts about this were in the comments. And sometime in the near future, I might talk about the rest of the Prologue arc. The remaining 2 parts of it. Maybe in separate videos for each, or just both at once. But yeah, I'll think about it. And with that, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.